Hey everybody, Prepper Nurse One here. Today is Thursday, June 7th, 2018. I'm not going to go into everything else today. We're going to go right on topic of this video. And there's a lot to kind of go over, so I wanted to really start it out right away so that we were right on topic. Topic of the video: is the government trying to take the father out of the home? And my answer to that is a resounding yes, and I'm going to tell you why. We can go back to the 60s. We're going to start back in the 60s to begin with, okay? When they did the whole welfare reform and everything like that. And these government workers went into the poorer neighborhoods around the country and said to all these mothers, well, you know, if there's not a father in the household, you can get more benefits, okay? So there was incentive for these women to not have a man in the picture so that they could get more benefits from social services to be able to, and that gets the man out of the home. So of course, obviously these women had boyfriends and whatnot and stuff like that, but the fathers a lot of times were not in the homes because there was no incentive for that family unit, okay? Now the other thing we're going to talk about too, so I want to bring that up first because that goes all the way back to that time period, okay? The court systems, and I'm going to go by New York State, but I know this is across the country, but New York State's pretty bad. When a husband and wife divorce and there's children involved, okay, 9 times out of 10, if not more, the child are always given to the mother. Always, okay? No matter how much of a piece of crap the mother is, they're always given to the mother, okay? And she's the custodial parent, if you will. And so the problem with that situation is, and I want to explain it one way, and then we're going to get into it more, okay? So you got a husband and wife. Maybe they're not getting along. There's problems in the marriage and stuff like that. So the incentive is not to continue on with the marriage. The wife goes to a lawyer. The lawyer says, well, listen, if you leave, I can get you child support. I can get you maintenance. I can get you money for babysitting. I can get you money, for make sure that he pays the health insurance, all those type of things. So the women go, well, why should I stay? Why should I try to work things out? Why should I, try to do that? So a lot of times they leave, okay? The men are always going to be penalized. It happens so many times. Now, first of all, before everybody jumps on me about this, there are some deadbeat fathers out there. There are some pieces of crap fathers out there. I'm not saying that there's not, okay? But when you have 2, 3, 4 kids and, you go your separate ways, and the father has to pay for all the health care coverage, he has to cover part of the babysitting, he has to pay child support, and possibly also pay maintenance if she was a stay-at-home mom, okay? So now this poor son of a gun is out there working himself to death, and he doesn't have enough for himself to survive upon after paying all this money out every week. I had a cousin of mine that, he had several children, and so he was paying a lot of different child support and stuff like this. They were garnishing his wages to the point where after he worked all week, 40 hours, he would get his paycheck and literally would bring home, and this is no exaggeration, guys, he would bring home $10 a week. Okay, now his wife was working as well, so they had income coming in from that way. But it was just the system is set up against men. It is absolutely set up against men to get the father out of the household. All these kids, a lot of these kids today, are being raised without a father figure in the household. Now, I'm going to tell you what, for myself, I consider myself very blessed. My grandfather was my father figure, okay? My mom, and my father divorced when I was very, very young, and my biological father gave me up for adoption to a stepfather so he did not have to pay child support, okay? That's the bottom line. I really didn't get to know my father until I was about 27 years old. I saw him once at 16, I saw him once at 19, and at 27 I went and sought him out because I wanted to have some kind of relationship because he was my father, okay? And I found out what kind of person he truly was, okay? So that is what it is, okay? I made a vow to myself I was going to be the type of father that I did not have, okay? Regardless if my relationship worked out or didn't work out, I planned on being involved in my kids' life no matter what. And I am, obviously, as anybody who watches my videos know, they know that I have my kids. And I'm going to tell you something that I think is kind of interesting in that I cannot tell you guys the number of times I have heard from women and men, but mostly from women, and they say to me, "You have your kids?" And I go, "Yeah, I have my kids." I said, "Somebody has to be responsible." And besides just even being responsible, they're mine. So I'm going to take care of my children, okay? That's a vow I made when I was a child, that if I ever have children, I am going to be there for my kids. Woman involved or not, they're my children. So anyway, so a lot of these women, you know, the incentives are not to have that man in the picture. They got it made on Easy Street. Like I said, New York State, you know, they will crucify a guy. Now, like I said, I can't speak for other parts of the country, but I've talked to other men that have dealt with similar situations, and it's pretty much across the board. But New York State's pretty bad, okay? You know, as far as that goes. But you know, no matter, like I said, how big of a piece of garbage the mother is, 9 times out of 10, the courts are going to give custody to that mother. It happens constantly, okay? Now, like I said, now I definitely want your guys' feedback on this video. I know I have a lot of female subscribers to my channel, okay? I'm not attacking women, ladies, okay? I just want you to know that ahead of time. This is not about trying to attack anybody or anything like that. But I have seen so many guys. Now, here's another problem that happens a lot of times. Children are used as tools, which is a horrible, horrible thing, okay? They will, I'm going to give you another example from my own family. Have my uncle who lives in California. Now, he's passed away now, okay? He had 3 children with his wife. They ended up going their separate ways. Of course, it's California. She got custody of the children. He was ordered to pay child support. Well, he wasn't able to pay that child support for whatever reasons, and it was none of my business, and I had nothing to do with that, so I have no idea what those circumstances were. But she withheld those children from him, would not let him see his children because he would not or could not pay his child support, or would not, or whatever the circumstances were. Now, was he still the father of those children? Absolutely he was. Here's another thing that happened in that. The oldest child, and I'm not going to, you know, say names because it's like, you know, because that way somebody could put 2 and 2 together. But the oldest child, she went and tried to have a relationship with her father, okay, and started to see him and started to talk with him. Her mother said, "If you continue to see your father, I will cut you off." And she stopped that relationship like that, okay? That is wrong. It's horrible. It should never happen. That, regardless if the mother's a piece of crap, regardless if the father's a piece of crap, regardless of the fact that if they're both really good people, okay, they're still the parents of that child. The child should never be used as a pawn. It should never be used as a tool. It should never be used for control. That I will put that down there completely. Here's the thing, like I said, I have my kids, okay? I have never, ever once, ever said, "No, you can't go to your mother's." And I never will. They visit their mother as often as they want to, okay? Generally, it's on the weekends. And, you know, Eddie goes more than Heather does, okay? But the thing is, it's like, I would never do that. Not only to her, but I would never do that to them. That is still their mother, okay? So that, to me, is something that is absolutely abhorrent, that people do that to their children. That they use their children as a tool, and it's a control mechanism, and then they vilify the father, and the father's a piece of crap because he didn't do this or he didn't do that. Whatever happened in your marriages is what happens. Those children are still your children together, and for the greater good of that child, you should try to get along. Now, let's put it like this. You know, me and my ex don't always get along. We have our disagreements, okay? But the thing is, for the most part, we focus on the children. And it's like, so, like I said, that's what's more important to me. I want my kids to be happy. I want my kids to be well-rounded, okay? They have 2 parents, not just one, okay? And the problem is, so many of these fathers, and there's a lot of absentee fathers, don't get me wrong, that don't want nothing to do with their kids and the whole 9 yards, okay? It happens a lot, unfortunately. But the system is set up to destroy the family unit, to get the fathers out of the households, Now these kids are growing up without a father, going buck wild, acting like lunatics, okay? Because they don't have that structure. They don't have a positive male role model. And that's a problem. That's a huge problem in this country. And I'm talking about the United States, okay? I don't know what happens over in Europe or what happens in other parts of the world, in Asia, or, you know, or wherever else in the world. This video, I'm talking about the United States, primarily in New York, because that's the experience that I have as a parent, is in New York State. Now, luckily I had a lawyer that got a great deal for me, and we have joint residential custody of the children. Now, are they with me 90% of the time? Yes, they are, okay? But that's okay with me. They're mine, and I will take care of them. I love my children more than anything else in this world. And because I love my children, I would never, ever, ever stop them from seeing their mother. Now, I'll tell you what, I get zero in the way of support for my kids. I've never asked for it. I don't want it. They're mine. I'll take care of mine, okay? But that's another whole situation. Anyway, unfortunately, in this country, it is set up, especially in New York State. Like I said, I can't speak for other parts of the country, but I'm talking about New York. They want the father out of the household, and then that poor son of a gun is working himself to death. I've watched my cousin do it, okay? And he's paying for all these mistakes, if you will, that he made with several different women. But that was his choice. He laid down with him. He made those children. He needs to accept his responsibility. But when they cut you so much that you have nothing to live on, where's the motivation as a man then at that point? There isn't. And that's what they want. They want the man out of the picture. Now the state is raising those children. It's ridiculous, okay? I definitely, guys, I want your feedback on this video. I really, 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 truly do, because this is going to be, I think, one of those hotbed issues. Like I said, this is not an attack against women, okay? This is not, you know, just defending poor men, okay? Again, like I've said before in this video, a lot of men are pieces of crap. But there's a lot of women out there, too, that are pieces of crap, that get custody of their children and don't take care of their children the right way. And they hold those children back from seeing their father, which is absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. Okay? So that is my opinion. It's the state wanting control, being the nanny state, and they do it all the time. And I think it's horrible. And so I wanted to do this video. I was talking to some people that have been dealing with some issues with custody stuff, and I just thought this was a really, really important topic to bring up. I've seen it with my own eyes. It has affected me directly as well. But the thing is, like I said, you know, for me, my priority, I always tell people this, and it's like, and I'll say it again in this video, I have 3 priorities in life, okay? My number 1 priority is my kids, my number 2 priority is my kids, and my number 3 priority is my kids. Now, I hope you realize what my priorities are. That's where I stand, and I'll say that every day of the week, okay? I love my children more than anything else, and I will always be there for them. I have told them, I said, I will always be there for you as long as I am alive, and that's the only thing I can promise them, because as I say in my videos, tomorrow's not guaranteed, guys. We never know what's going to happen, okay? So I definitely, I don't know, let me see how long I've been rambling on here. I got to make sure I don't go too far here. All right, I've been going for a while, so anyway, I'm going to jump off of here, guys, but I want your feedback on this topic. I think it's a very, very important topic. It needs to be discussed. There's a lot of horrible things that are happening out there, and these children are not having both of their parents in their life, which I think is absolutely horrible. They need both a mother and a father. All children do, okay? So, and I'm going from my own personal experiences as a child of divorce. I was like, why didn't my dad want me? How could he not want me? I couldn't understand it. I could not understand it. How could he give me up for adoption and not care about me? You know, and that hurts. That bothers you. And that's why I went and sought him out when I got older and was like, why? You know, and of course he had this excuse and that excuse, but excuses are like a-holes. Everybody's got one. The bottom line is he signed those papers. It was his decision, and that's what it comes down to. And, you know, for circumstances of control, the mother, whatever, the whole thing, it is what it is. But he could have put his foot down and said no, and he didn't. But that's his choice, and it was his loss, okay? But anyway, remember, guys, hug and kiss the ones you love. Tell them every day, tomorrow's not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen. And remember STD. It's one step at a time, one thing at a time, one day at a time. Whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you can do it. The only one that's going to stop you from getting there is yourself, honestly. And that is so, so true. And, you know, don't listen to the negativity, guys. I just had somebody made a comment the other day that she's down in Texas and wants to move more inland, higher elevation, and her mother's all negative in her ear. And I hope you're watching the video and hope you see this, because don't listen to that negativity. Follow your heart. Do what you feel is right in your heart for your children. That's the important thing. Now, like, comment, share, please. You know, I think this is a really important topic, and it really needs to be addressed. And I definitely, guys, please give me your feedback, because I want to hear what you have to say. Okay? I will talk to you all tomorrow. I hope everybody has a great day. Prepper Nurse One, out for now.